How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be watching a video: Canada versus Australia, cost of living, wealth, and jobs, plus some more. So what's the better country to live in? I'm from Australia, if you couldn't tell. If you have watched a couple of my videos before and you're not subscribed, you might as well subscribe. The full link to the video will be in the description below. Let's get into it.
Australia versus Canada. Two giants with surprising similarities. Australia and Canada, two massive countries with relatively small populations, excellent living standards, and famously friendly, welcoming people. Welcome to Epic Insight. I'm Sham, your host for today's video. We'll be diving into a fascinating comparison between two countries that, while located worlds apart, share many common traits. Once you've watched the video, and hopefully dropped a like, Fun fact, the Greater Tokyo area alone has more people than all of Canada. Australia has a smaller population of around 27 million, placing it 55th globally. Now, onto population density. Canada averages 4 people per kilometer square, making it the 8th least densely populated country. Australia is even lower, with just 3.5 people per kilometer square, ranking as the 5th least dense. Incredible, right?
Yeah, but the problem with Australia is half the fucking population's on the east coast, or even more than that, 3/4. And the population isn't staying small for long. If you're in Australia, the problem with immigration. It's going insane right now. There's way too many people getting immigrated into the country. House prices are insane. I know house prices in Canada are equally expensive, but I believe they're going down compared to Australia, where they're just continuing to go up. It's scary to think how far up they go, but the further up they go, the harder they're going to fall, right? Especially with these fears of a recession we're on the cusp of a recession, like global recession and possibly depression, right? With the wars in the Middle East, America, tariffs, and just general inflation, crazy debt. Like Australia's in $1 trillion of debt. I'm sure Canada's probably in more, if not the
When it
same.
comes to life expectancy, Australia edges ahead with just under 83.6 years, compared to Canada's 83.1 years. That puts Australia 8th globally, and Canada 16th. But here's an unexpected twist. Australia has the highest cancer rate in the world, possibly due to high sun exposure and a fair-skinned population. Canada ranks 11th on that list. Let's look at average age. A younger population usually benefits the economy and reduces healthcare strain. Australia wins again with an average age of 38.4, compared to Canada's 41.3. Lastly, let's look at the fertility rate. Canada, 1.42 births per woman. Australia, 1.63 births per woman. Both are below the replacement level of 2.1, but Australia's fertility rate is higher, helping slightly offset an aging population. 2. Geography. Both countries are enormous. Canada is the second largest country in the world after Russia, with just under 9.1 million kilometers square of land. Australia, while smaller at 7.7 million kilometers square, still ranks as the 6th largest. Technically a continent.
Yeah, I didn't realize how big Canada was. I thought it would be. Well, I guess it makes sense, but I thought it was smaller. But I guess a lot of it's snow, and I don't know how inhabitable parts of Canada are. I guess it's similar to Australia. Like the center of Australia is pretty inhabitable. But yeah.
Australia is also considered the largest island on Earth. Canada is located in North America, bordering the United States to the south and the Arctic Ocean to the north. Australia is located in Oceania, surrounded by the Indian and Pacific Oceans. In terms of forests, Australia, 16.2% of the land is forested, 39% of that in Queensland. Canada, 34% of the land is forested, giving it the 3rd largest forest area in the world. Australia ranks 6th. Canada also contains the most lakes in the world, over 2 million. Its terrain is dominated by forests, mountains, like the Rockies, tundra, and the Canadian Shield. Australia is known for its outback, arid interior, the Great Barrier Reef, and the Blue Mountains. Now here's a fun fact. Which country has the longest coastline in the world? If you guessed Australia, you're wrong. Canada leads with a staggering 202,000 kilometer of coastline, while Australia comes in 7th with about 25,700 kilometer. 3. Economy. Now let's get into the financials. As of 2025,
This is what we're here for. So my channel, we mainly talk a lot about financial economies and how it's all going. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. We mainly talk about Australia, but today we're having a look at both.
Australia's GDP is around $1.7 trillion, making it the 13th largest economy in the world. Canada surpasses it with a $2.2 trillion GDP, ranking 9th globally. In terms of GDP growth, Canada is growing faster at just over 2.5%. Australia is growing at just under 2.1%.
Yeah, but Australia's growth is pretty much all housing and mining, right? And those aren't really sustainable metrics unless you keep pumping in people like we are, which I guess there's no shortage of people that want to come to Australia because they think it's safe and for somewhat it is. It's very safe. However, it is becoming less and less safe. Like I just did a video on pretty much the rise of youth crime and whatnot, and it's just it's getting less and less safe every day, and it's ridiculous. Is it because of immigrants? I don't think so, but mainly because of the economic stress that people are on, and young people aren't really disciplined these days.
GDP per capita. Australia comes out ahead with approximately $68,000 per person. Canada sits at around $55,000. However, Australia is more expensive to live in, ranking 16th globally compared to Canada at 24th. Quick stats. Education spending. Both spend 5.3% of GDP. Inflation. 2.5% in Australia, 2.0% in Canada. Billionaires. Canada has 50, ranking 8th. Australia has 40, ranking 12th. Big Mac Index. A Big Mac costs $5.29 in Canada, compared to $4.98 in Australia. 4. Quality of life. Both countries offer a high quality of life with strong education systems, modern infrastructure, and high wages. But of course, neither is without its challenges. Let's start with obesity. Both countries are tied, with around 29% of their adult populations classified as obese. This reflects similar Western diets and lifestyle habits. Australia has better healthcare resources with more doctors, 3.9, and hospital beds, 3.75, per 1,000 people. In education, Australia shines with the highest school life expectancy globally, 23 years from primary through.
That's really sad that that's actually a thing to even be putting in there. I feel like what would America's be? America's would be fucking shocking, right?
Tertiary education. Canada is also impressive, ranking joint 7th with 17 years. On the Happiness Index, Canada ranks 11th, just ahead of Australia in 12th. In terms of peace, Canada is 6th globally, while Australia ranks 13th. When it comes to corruption, Australia fares better, ranking in the top 10, while Canada is 16th. Finally, looking at military strength, the two are nearly tied. Australia ranks 19th. Canada ranks 21st. Now it's over to you. Would you rather live in Australia or Canada? And which one?
I guess they're pretty much all the same, right? Like, there's not much difference. Obviously, growing up in Australia, I'll probably just stay here. Like, it's pretty good, except for the fact that housing is extremely expensive. But it seems like it's like that anywhere you go, right? In any Western civilization, it's pretty expensive and overpriced for what you're paying for. You're paying for something that's potentially built in like 1990, and you're paying fucking 100 times what it was back then. It's insane. But I'd love to hear what you guys think below. I think if I could make all the money in the world online, I think I would go to Southeast Asia. I think that's the place to go. You can live so cheaply, and you can live like a king, and everyone's real polite and whatnot. Like I went to Japan 2 years ago. That was a great time. Probably go back to Japan for a little while. But yeah, let me know below, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Catch ya.